Let's say you want to do better at fixing your bike at home, and you don't have room or maybe the money for a full-size work stand like the one I have here from ParkTool. You want to be able to do some work, but you also don't have maybe the space, because this takes up a lot of space if you leave it hooked up. Altangle has the solution for you. This is a fairly compact work stand. Very well made, machined aluminum clamps, machined aluminum rod, nice anti-marring padding on the clamps so that if you're attaching to something, they show tubes. In fact, they make a little wall plate that just has a little tube that you can attach to a wall if you want to have a sort of a permanent home. And there's a certain YouTuber out there who, you know, I'm a big fan of. He's actually switched to using just this. Now, I'm not sold. I've had this for a while now. I still prefer to have my ParkTools work stand. This is just nicer. I'm sorry. This is okay. One of the things that this does not have is a quick release. You have to thread this all the way down and thread this all the way out, versus my, you know, has a little quick release, and then you clamp it down, and then you use that just to tighten the last little bit. Much more convenient, even if you're a home mechanic and you're not working on bikes all day. This is still nicer. The other advantage of this, of course, is that this can clamp like anywhere. So if you're going somewhere, let's say you're going to the cottage or a ski resort to do some downhill laps, you know, at the bike park, or you're just going out to the country somewhere to be away from the city, and you need to do something. You forgot to make a change to your bike, or you've had some major mechanical and you made it back to your car or wherever it is you're staying. This isn't too big to throw in the trunk of your car or your gear bag, and you can just have this with you, and then you can do those repairs or those modifications wherever it is you need. In fact, Altangle make a little portable travel case for this, which I highly recommend, as I don't have one and I wish I did. One of the good features of this is that you don't always have a perfect pipe somewhere to attach this to. So you can pull these pins, and then these clamps come off, and you can attach them like this to give you a different angle. This side has holes so that you can mount it like this. Different angles, all the different holes possible. There's a lot of adjustments. They also make a tube extender attachment thing, which I'll put up on the screen. I don't have one. The advantage of that is that then you have infinite angles of adjustability, and it makes it a little bit longer. I have to say, having used this out in the bike park a few times, this is a bit short depending on what you're attaching it to, so I would like to have something a little bit longer. This is an interesting little thing. You know, you're trying to attach this, and the area where you're in doesn't let you make a full 360 rotation. You can press this down and use it as a ratchet. This clamping force is quite strong. Like I said, this thing is overbuilt. When you look at the price, you'll be like, oh my God, that's expensive. First of all, less expensive than a really good ParkTool. About the same price as a low-end ParkTool, and this is really well made. Like I said, this is all machined aluminum. This is not, and so, you know, the quality and the strength of this is quite high. So here I am at the cottage to show you my most likely use case for the Altangle. This is pretty much the only place I could set up the bike to work on in a reasonable sort of way. This is the porch railing, and I'm gonna go over here. Now we're going to mount the bike. Nope. Doesn't really work, sort of. It's doing a job of marring my railing here. And the front wheel is touching the ground because the way these jaws are shaped means that it doesn't clamp onto this. Now they do sell flat insert for flat surfaces. They also sell something called the Pro Bar, which is important because you'll notice the angle of your seat post is never going to be vertical. Yet the Altangle as it comes only has 90-degree pin locations. If you get the Pro Bar, it's got a quick release clamp allowing you for infinite rotation, which you need, otherwise your bike is going to droop forward like this. And unless your railing or whatever you're attaching to is very, very high, it's not going to be particularly useful to you. I don't have the Pro Bar, and you know, this is the situation. So I'm gonna have to look around trying to find where the best place to hook up this is now, because it's not here. This is not gonna work, and I'm gonna ruin my railing a little bit. So here I am by a tree. Pretty much the only thing I could find around the cottage that was at all reasonable. It's barely holding on. It's pretty wobbly. It would get the job done. It's kind of an angle because it's listing, because it seems that these clamps only really work well if they're around a pipe. Not surprisingly, Altangle sells a little pipe wall mount holder that you can attach to a surface, and that's pretty much the problem I have with the Altangle. It's not as versatile as it looks. It's not as convenient as it looks. It only does well in that sort of unique situation where you have a vertical pipe somewhere. Can't be a horizontal pipe, it'll just rotate down. All right, well, here's the Altangle up at the cottage, my main use case, and looks like I have to build something for it, get some pipe, attach it to a post, and then it'll be useful. And you need to get the Pro Bar, otherwise it's not particularly useful for the angle. I mean, if it's high enough, it's not bad, but you get the idea. Would I buy this to replace a full-blown park stool stand? Maybe only if I was really limited in space. Like I'm talking about downtown city living, where you're living in a tiny little condo or apartment and you simply don't have the space. This is a race stand. It folds down to quite a compact form factor. I mean, not like this small, but still fairly compact. And the convenience of this, of having it be able to be freestanding, is quite nice. So there you go, the Altangle portable or not bike work stand clamp thing. Hopefully I've given you enough information to help you decide whether you want it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Have a good ride and see you out there.